Hey Travis kiddos, it's Monday and it's time for math. If you watched the reading video, you know I'm wearing my Lava Man Triathlon shirt today. This week would have been my triathlon this weekend would have been my triathlon in Hawaii. Unfortunately, that is canceled along with everything else. So I'm still celebrating as if I would have been there, and there's always next year. So today, let's go over some graphing and go over the new chapter we're starting in math. We're going to quickly go through our calendar and time chapter. We do a lot of calendar work every day. Most of us use calendars regularly. We talk about the days of the week and the months and all that. So it shouldn't be too new or difficult, and you have access to calendars at home with your families too. So let's review graphing first. So I created a little makeshift graph here. I have some shapes on the top. We're going to use these shapes up here to tally and graph, to practice counting them up, showing how to tally, like showing a tally graph, and also comparing different things within the graph. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to see how many of each shape there is. So let's see, if I start with the squares, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So I'm going to tally that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 lines. Okay, circles. Now you could tally one at a time. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 across, and 1 here. Okay, so you can count them all up and then tally, or you can tally one at a time. If you're tallying one at a time, I suggest you cross them off as you go to make sure you've counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, and 6. Tallying makes it easier to count. I don't have to count every single tally mark. I know that each time I cross, it's a 5. So triangles, 1, 2, 3. And hexagons, I see 1. All right, so now I'm going to take that information and I'm going to graph it in my bar graph down below. So I have 4 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. I'm going to make my line here and draw it down. You can see 4, and I'm going to color that in. I'm not going to take away the tick marks on the side. So 4 squares. Okay, circles. We had 6. So going all the way up to the 6 here and coming down. It's a little bit not perfect. Like I said, I just kind of makeshifted it over here. But there's 6. Then we have 3. Carefully draw my line over here. 3 triangles. And 1 hexagon. So just 1 down there. All right. Now, I can use this to compare the shapes. So let's see. I could say that there are 2 more circles than squares. Or I could say there are 1, 2, 3 more circles than triangles. Or there are 2 fewer hexagons than triangles. I could also say there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares and triangles. Squares and triangles together. There are 7. I could also count up how many shapes there are in all. I might even use this for that. So I have 4, and 5 is 9. 1 more is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 shapes in all. So you can think of all different questions you could ask and answer using a graph like this. So you guys can go ahead and make your own graph. You could find items in your house to graph. You could look at all your socks and graph the colors of the socks, and then compare them and think up questions for that. You could do forks, spoons, knives. Maybe those are all the same, but it's still a good practice to graph. You could do bowls and plates in your house. You could do pretty much anything. You could graph the information. But try to keep the numbers not too big. That would be a little crazy. If you want to do it, I think you have plenty of time. But try to keep it something manageable. So in the math workbook today, you might be accessing the textbook pages on Think Central through Launchpad, and that is great because you're going to be doing some similar things to the workbook pages. Either one or both, great options. So starting with calendar, you're going to be talking about the days of the week. Now it tells you here, our week, every week begins on a Sunday. So when it asks the first day is Sunday. So how many days are in a week? You know that. You can count them up too. And then it asks some questions about the months of the year here, and you can use this chart below to answer the questions and color in the months in the certain colors that they're asking you to do. Here, they have a mock month. It's 2015, May. Obviously not the month we're in right now or the year, but you're going to use this calendar to fill in these questions. So it asks what the name of the month is, what day comes before Wednesday, how many days in the month, lots of different questions. Okay. And then one more page here is about seasons. So we talk about the seasons a lot too. We start school in, well, I guess summer now, but it goes into fall, winter, spring, and then summer again. So you're gonna match the picture of what looks like that season to the name of the season. And then you have some tricky questions down here. So I wanna talk about these a little bit. So New Year's Day, New Year's is the first day of the year. So think about what day, what month that would fall in. We already had it this year. So what month did New Year's Day fall in? And Thanksgiving, we usually, it's always actually the last Thursday of this month. We had that this school year too. It comes between Halloween and our winter holidays of Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all those. Hint, hint. Now, Independence Day, that's a tricky one. That one comes, or that is another word for the 4th of July. So I know that kind of gives away what month it is, but I wanted to make sure you knew what Independence Day was, because that is not always a term we use for that holiday, but now you can start using it. It's always great to learn new words, new terms, new vocabulary for things. So go ahead, work on that math. You also, as always, have extra math workbook page or math pages like the math coloring and anything you haven't finished from the St. Patrick's Day packet or any other math you want to do, creating your own graphs, doing your own number sentences and word problems. You can get creative with it. Have fun and happy learning.